We got here just in time. It's about there. About 10 o'clock. We were going to go at 10:30. We would have missed it then. We went at the very last minute,
Yeah,
and it means they're loading already. So this is the food bank.
All right, be nice to him.
Gotcha.
It's our third time. We know the rules, Randy. Yeah, we're poor just like y'all. Damn, that car's pretty old. Ooh, looks like she's done it. Illegal. Don't be judgmental. I don't think he's gonna be that mean since. I think this is a good time to go. I might have ran out of the good stuff, but we'll figure out what we're gonna get, y'all. Whatever we get, bless the Lord. Oh, shut up. It kind of smells weird. Do you smell something?
It's the grass, the lawn.
Is it the grass?
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna go back home and go to bed.
That's what we got last time here. Well, one of the things.
Oh, need to even wash it off.
Catfish.
Oh, get that mouth away from me.
There's catfish and what? Peaches and...
Oh, catfish, yeah.
One time we got
Plugs.
cheese. They gave out cheese.
Yeah, it was a Mexican
And sausage.
cheese. We should get some chicken breast or something, or some chicken tenders or something. But what I kind of wish they'd give out bread. You figure they would get bread. We've never gotten bread before over here. You figure La Madeline, you know? I know Chick-fil-A hands out food. Because my friend, he gets Chick-fil-A food all the time.
Right.
I also need to go check out that Mercy Church. I heard that's a good one. I think it's nice.
The National Philharmonic at Strathmore performing the Toussaint Overture. It's Samuel Coleridge Taylor's music with Michael Repper as the conductor. On WRR FM and HD1, Dallas Fort Worth, all classical all the time, and a very...
Oh, you put it in the back seat. Okay. Your technology. Okay.
Good morning.
Remember last time they were trying to put it in the back seat when they had the trunk in?
This was up with the trunk.
Yeah, I know. These people are volunteers. Cute.
Violinist Bill Shaham and the Orpheus Chamber Orchestra with beautiful Rosemary. Maurice Ravel's music, written for a one-armed pianist, is coming up in a little more than 20 minutes this morning, and the final symphony by Haydn is next. And support for WRR comes from the Modern Art Museum of Fort Worth, presenting Alex Duporte, The Whale, featuring the artist's alternative concept of paintings,
I love to say
including
stop.
reverse glass, puffy paintings, and performance video. On view through September 7th. More information at themodern.org. This is the 104th
Was that a
and
share?
the final symphony by Franz
I don't know.
played here by the Royal
Who isn't?
Joseph Cripps conducting on WRR.
We're not drinking my beer. Hey! We have a 125 and a 5566.
Oh, yeah, that's probably them working to help.
Pay your Ford Focus. Otherwise, it gets repoed. No, they don't have the conveyor belts today. Yeah. Well, last time they didn't have it either. I like to break the rules.
You just open the trunk and they just put it in.
I'll say hi, be nice.
Yeah, you do have to wait though.
Not bad.
Not as long as you'd have to wait at Walmart, not today though.
I know. Didn't think I'd be doing this in my 50s.
Well, it depends on your situation.
You get stuck in a trunk? Does that thing actually work? I don't want to try. Let's get some.
That's so nice. You just put it right in your trunk. Good to go.
That lady walked out the door and I get these.
Are they, so this is the perfect time to show up. It's 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I would say 10.
Yeah, I would say they'd be done maybe before 11 at the latest. So I'm gonna head by Jason's Deli and get a little salad. So far I've only had 300 calories, so I'm watching my calorie count. So I'm watching everything I eat and putting down the calorie count. And I don't know, I've been getting around 1,500, 1,800 calories and keeping it right there. And then I'm gonna weigh in on Monday, this Monday. So every Monday I'll weigh in probably and see how I'm doing. So it's Friday, June 27th, 2025. Not 222. And it's 94 degrees Fahrenheit. using the Synergy one, you don't get the nickel off, even when you put your code in. Well, I wish I had room, but Edmund's enough right now. So is Critter. So usually what I do is about a little bit of everything, and I do 6 eggs, which I de-yolk. Alright, so this is my special diet. It's a little bit of everything on the salad bar. I take 6 eggs and I de-yolk them. I usually do them on something like this. Somebody's got another tray. I don't know what it is. Plates, is what I'm gonna say. Basically, I de-yolk it. Try to get it all the yolk out of it right there. So there's pretty much no yolk. So it's pretty much like this. So, and now I just put that in the salad. Do that with all 6 of them right here. Okay, so once I get all the eggs done, then I take one of these, pepper stuff. You can like pepper the eggs. Get a little bit of yolk in there, it's okay. And most of the yolk is gone right here. So I can pepper these. I'll do that with all of these. Alright, so most all the eggs are de-yolked. And, so I'll just set this over here. And that's pretty much all I do. I use red wine and vinegar because it has 0 calories, or the one here does. And then a little balsamic, which usually is about 5 calories per serving. So there is a book written about acting and eating, but I know that somewhere in it, it's probably going to want you to pretty much eat like you usually would, and figure out and observe yourself and how you eat. So if you ever have to do it with the screen, you can know what's it like to act and eat. It's a good exercise for the actor. And for drink, straight up unsweet tea with sweetener. second plate. So I'm gonna leave a little for the homies. Alright, first one is Gong Chong. Pick up by 354. Alright, got a McDonald's. And we'll find out how far for tax purposes. $4.19, 1.3 miles. For taxes. All right, 4:40 arrival, 11 minutes, 5.6 miles. We'll be there for tax purposes, for your drop off, for your food. All right, silver alert. It's a crazy hippie. It's a Ford. Petty, Texas. Something about p.s.s. something. I don't know. I'll have to look at it maybe on plate number. Some crazy hippie got a hold of a Ford. All right, Pizza Hut 2485 from here. It's about 4 miles. Something like one pizza. I just grab like, you know, just a regular pizza bag. Put the breadsticks on top of it. Still using the ball of my foot as a crutch, just like that, because I have to carry this stuff, so crutches wouldn't work out. It's the heel, the right heel, that's injured. I have to stay off of, so I'm just using the ball. It's like a dance move, basically. It's like 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. I'll have that one down if I ever need to use it. And they have their own delivery service too. All right, that delivery's in 11 minutes. We'll be there in 7 miles. Get the fireworks ready for the 4th of July. Alki Works. Alki Fireworks. What Stephen King calls drunken fireworks. These are actually legal, but if you just go zip code over, then you get in trouble for firing them. I don't even know if you can ignite the fireworks here in this area. I don't think you can. So you can buy them here, and then you have to go elsewhere.
And use code FilmSpot25, that's FilmSpot25, to receive your discount.
This episode is brought to you by PetSmart. Stop by for Yappy Hour with your pet at PetSmart. Save $5 on walk-in grooming services like nail trims, ear cleaning, brushing, and more. No appointment needed every weekday from 2 to 6 p.m. And while you're there, Yappy Hour includes exclusive in-store deals like 25% off pet toys. Visit services.petsmart.com/grooming to learn more.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
You're not interested in art?
No.
Well, look, we're going to do this thing. We're going to have a conversation.
From Chicago, this is Film Spotting, celebrating our 20th year. I'm Josh Larson.
And I'm Adam Kempenar.
There were so many dead. Infected and non-infected alike.
That's why our home is so precious. The Rage Zombies are back, and so are director Danny Boyle and screenwriter Alex Garland. We've got a review of 28 years later.
Plus, the top 5 Danny Boyle characters with Danny Boyle himself.
So I would start with Kerry Fox in Shallow Grave.
Let me get this.
I believe I'm in Rome, Texas. This is in Rome.
The customer requested you
Yes,
leave the order
Rome.
at their door. They added the
Spell it with an
following
H.
instructions. Leave it by
R-H-O-M-E. Alright, we're gonna head to Albertsons for the next hot spot, which will take us about 5:38. So we'll arrive at 5:38, 22 minutes, about 13 miles, head back.
More cogently as we go, but Spike's left of the and with his mother on seat of ladies, which is
Hey, Cole, you can help me. Is 12 and Taylor Johnson. By the roots later.
hint pick for 17. Yes.
Backdrop, like star.
Here's
Shallow grey.
this is Film Spotting.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
You're not interested in art?
No.
Well, look, we're going to do this thing. We're going to have a conversation.
From Chicago.
And more. Nope.
From
With Kerry Fox in
Sparkly things, right? Like stars.
Yes. Danny
The great outdoors. Duh.
Boyle film
24 year. Adam, I set this up and I counted at least 5 different movies in 28 years later. Abilities. The second. And
time on Thursday to sue us.
Under that. The man.
Alex Garner.
Kind of a show are you guys putting on?
Store deals. Like 25% off.
You're dead. Infected and non-infected alike.
That's why our home is so precious.
Alright, Pizza Hut for $2. It's the one I was just must be in the area. Alright guys, I'm gonna show you some corruption, okay? Now I'm gonna hit direction. Look at the GPS that it sends. Now it has it out of the, okay, yeah, that must have come off. I don't know if that's going to allow me to show it. The real address is only 0.3 miles away, but now it's not allowing it to go through. I actually know where the Pizza Hut is. So, but anyway, it was having me going 14 miles in that direction, which would have been devastation. I've done it a few times when I first started. I'm smart enough now. I'm using a different device to oversee some of these GPS directions. All right, so let's look at the GPS direction. You can do the math on some of that. That's way off. That's saying it's 14 miles out of the way, when the actual Pizza Hut is just right over there, about 0.3 miles. I just went to it earlier. That's why I figured it out. So you have to stay on top of it. Here's the actual address. Let's see if I unplug. That's what it does. Nothing. It just says it can't find the place in Google search. But that's not what it said earlier. Yeah, I know. Let me turn right on red, which you never have to do, even if they honk. You have the right not to turn right on a red. You can stay until it's green. But he politely honked, so I moved. Anyway, it's not showing what it was showing before, but the Pizza Hut is right there, right behind that Murphy's Express, right next to Walmart. I'm just gonna have to show you this way, but I can't show you what they did right there. I wish I could, because I was like, 14 miles, what? I mean, most people can figure it out, but newbies, they would actually go the 14 miles, and they'd probably give them a contract violation too. Kind of makes me mad, but it is technology, and that's what we deal with. No blinker there. There's the Pizza Hut. I just wanted to show you. So, a bit of blinker there so that guy doesn't flip out. There we go. And Pizza Hut. So, I knew where it was. Well, it did turn out it's actually Wingstop. But the Wingstop that's located is right here. So it's still not 14 miles from that area over there. I don't know why I thought that said Pizza Hut. Sometimes it just seems like sometimes it says something that, I don't know. I thought it said Pizza Hut. But it's nevertheless, it's right across the street. The Wingstop is. Let's see if this thing's actually, the directions are working in this area. The goal is to not put any pressure on the heel at all. See if this actually will work. If it does, I'll let you know.
You get your podcast.
Going for verification.
28 years later, 24
Verified.
years after 2002,
And for
28
Texas.
days later, and 18
8 minutes,
after its
3.5
sequel,
miles.
28 weeks, a third or so of the movie. This is where we meet Taylor Johnson as a father training his 12-year-old son, played by fresh-faced Alfie Williams. Detail them all to avoid spoilers for the moment, but basically.
Alright, we're going to a Freebirds for a hot spot. It's about 10 miles away from here. Alright, 850, 1675. Whoops, I'm sorry, 850 on this particular one. Pizza Hut, the one that we were at. So we're going to stop here. It's probably going to be a U-turn. Just like that. There we go. Let's see here. It's probably a U-turn. Let's see if I'm right. Actually, this is what I wanted to show. Okay. This is the Sage Meadow one. I see. This is the Pizza Hut on Avondale, though. Haslett Road. And then look. Look what it says here. I caught them. It says Sage Meadow. That's incorrect. Okay? I'm showing you proof again. That is the directions. This is what it gave me. So we're going to swipe out and try it again and see what it does. Where's the Sage Meadow? So that was probably the hot spot. Right. But it lagged. Or maybe I just didn't catch it. But now I found it. So the real address is, well, is right here. And it's 60463. That was probably going towards what I call a hot spot. Or what they call a hot spot. So I had to switch it over. Be careful on that. That's the one thing you have to watch out on. But it usually will make sense. They'll usually keep it within a 5-mile radius. That's why they're the dash. All right, it's $8. It is going to Rome. Let's see how far Rome is. About 7.6, not too bad. 7.7, even better. All right, for taxes.
Like, what is its reason for being? Is it just about new visual techniques and ways to depict zombies and zombie attacks? Or is it, you know, from a thematic standpoint, is it mining more or less the exact same ground as the other films? Or is it just bigger and louder? Up to it, explaining his, let's call it his art project. In the moment, I'll say was a little bit lost on me.
Thanks, appreciate it.
The impetus for it, I get really pretentious here, it's raison d'etre, I think is legitimately perfect. And the reason why is because maybe, unfortunately, I can't totally make my case because I don't want to spoil it. The reason why is because it asks us to contemplate something. His art project asks us to contemplate something. I think the movie is...
The state's supposed to be going to the right at 287, I guess, on the highway. These are kind of people, they're going to let me over.
Asking us to contemplate. And that does lead directly to his next point. On the way home, I was with my daughter Sophie, and Sam and Dave were in town visiting. Producer Sam and his son Dave. So we all saw the movie together. And we were kind of picking the movie apart a little bit. I was being a little critical. And I asked, what was the point of the alpha zombie character? And the hints the movie was dropping that the zombies were evolving. And it felt to me in the immediate aftermath of the movie like that was a case where the movie was trying to come up with some new wrinkle. Let's just make the bigger, badder zombie who rips people's heads off with their spinal cord still attached. Isn't that gruesome and cool, right? And we can get some footage of deer being ripped apart and
then
not stapled, but you know what I mean, attached to trees, and it'll be an infrared lighting. As they say, that'd be cool.
Correct.
But there again, the more I thought about it, the more I realized that those things are different, the alpha part and the evolution part. And I think they're both important elements.
And we'll go ahead and green light this project.
It ties to another major subplot. What I think this trilogy fundamentally holding a mirror up to us to make us reflect on our humanity or lack thereof. These zombies,
we're dead, but we're not when we get attacked. That's why a loved one always gets attacked, because that puts that question front and center. It's easy when it's some person you've never met in your life who's coming after you, and you know he just shouldn't even have your head. Let's just say in his art project,
that idea, he's also not confronting what is really happening in his home life, right? Whereas his son is willing to actually confront those things. And then what else do we learn about Ray Fiennes' character? He's a doctor, and though he has opportunities to kill zombies, we draw. And I'm speculating about what the next two movies will cover. I also think, based on the epilogue, this will form the foundation of what will be the central conflict between the two.
This place is actually called Newark, Texas. Newark, Texas. There's a few Newarks up north too. But this one's way down south. And they're from Oregon right there. All the way from Oregon. taking that road. Goes to that neighborhood right there. It's block 8. You ever seen that movie, The Abyss? James Cameron movie? Ed Harris. It's brilliant. Reunion, Texas, right here. Makes these little messages on his device, on his wrist. Way, way down there. Barely move around. Then he'll send a text message. Little message saying that he's okay, but it was a one-way trip. It's a good movie. The moment's really good. There's some really nice moments in that movie. It's also a moment where they drown a rat to prove that it can breathe underwater because that's a special medicine, special fluid the rat can breathe underwater to prove that people can do it too. Well, they can't yet do that. It's not very safe right now. That's very fictional. But it was for the sake of decompression, so your lungs wouldn't compress if you fall at the bottom of the ocean. But we are at about 93 degrees Fahrenheit in the middle of, I guess this is civilization to a certain degree. This is a neighborhood out in the middle of nowhere. Half and half on those guys. Probably half legal, half not. Some are, some aren't. They work together. It's fine with me. It doesn't bother me. I know you can't be perfect in this world. You live in law, you go to hell. You know, you gotta live in Christ. That's what I was taught. After all, Jesus had no borders. We created those borders for the empire of the devil. And all they're doing is making these houses, making sure they're built okay, using that kind of material. It's gonna be right up here, 140. Better if we get some better work programs for them coming over the border, though.
The customer requested you leave the order at their door. They added the following instruction.
All right, so let's see how far off we are. First, let's refresh so we get the right amount. You have to kind of do this. I'm just showing the process of stuff. Takes a moment to refresh. This is an iPhone 2022 SE, third generation. Pretty sure third generation. 2022. Refresh it again. Go on the move. There we go. Now refreshed. Let's see how far Panda is. Try to refresh it one more time. There it goes, third refresh. Now we're gonna look to see how far Panda is. Back at our zone. Let me explain the rules. So, actually, I'm actually in my zone right now. Didn't know that. I was out of my zone just like 2 seconds ago. Now I'm in the zone. So we're gonna go to a hot spot, which will take us about 14 miles from here. The options are 12.7, 15.2 miles, 16, and etc. So we're choosing the 12-mile one. Let me see. Yeah, might as well. They'll pull you into that even if you go to the further one. They'll just keep you in that area unless you choose to move. The only major problem so far is if I come across the train. I don't know if you can hear what I'm saying. But the train is it's not a data issue. And that's a big issue. That's why I have both these phones. That one has a 5G, this one has a LTE. But the train is a physical thing. It's like a gate closing. So if we come across that, then we have to find another way around. And that's when we start looking at these maps like mazes. And it doesn't look difficult, trust me. But it's very, very difficult. Far more difficult than when I was waiting tables, let me tell you that. And I have an injured heel, and I'm about 60 pounds overweight, probably, yeah. 40 to 60 pounds, depending on, some doctors want me at 190, some 200. But I once weighed 157 back in my jogging days. But I was considering maybe trying to teach myself to jog on the ball of my foot, but I'd have to slowly do it because it has to be engaged, almost like a dance move, so it's strengthened, and over time it'll callous the ball of my foot. But right now it'll you know, if I went jogging right now just on the ball of my foot, it wouldn't be wise to do. But if I did a little bit, we're talking like a block, and did that for a while until I trained myself to go a little bit further, let's say 2 blocks, you know, 3 or 4 weeks later, and then 4 blocks, and then from there, 8 blocks, and continuing on until I get to a mile, and it still feels comfortable. But you want to start with just a block when it comes to jogging creativity. I'd be learning to teach myself to jog a different way, almost like a dance. It'd be just like a dance. So it'd be exactly like dancing. One time, this guy that I acted with, I actually didn't act with him, I directed him in action. He saw me jogging at UNT, and he pulled up beside me and said, "Cole, what are you doing out there dancing?" His name was Steven. He was a great guy. He's one of the greatest actors in that play, Action, other than Ray. Ray and him were great, 2 polar opposites, big time. Ray's now a successful teacher down south in Austin. Ray Wardle, I'm talking about. Steven, I don't remember his last name. He was kind of a wild one. Heavy set, loudmouth, film major, and theater. And I cast him in the other role, I can't remember all their names, in Action. There was the guy that sat in the couch, or the guy that sat in the sofa, then the other guy that talked about getting thrown in jail. Steven played that guy. The costume lady, Barbara, she thought it was the best play she'd ever seen. That was her response to it. I'm surprised on her because she had done costuming for Circle Theater and all these theaters around, the Metroplex. And for her, she said it was one of the best plays she's seen at the college, not of all time, but the best play that's been done there. And that was a major compliment. It was a good set design. I think the acting was pretty dang good. And I believe her. I think it was probably one of the best that they did. We did a lot of cool plays there at UNT, University of North Texas. Project 414 was an invented play. It was an original play that was created by one of the directors there that the actors helped write. We also did cabaret, of course, and we did chorus line. I only helped with costumes on those, with ironing clothing and things like that, making sure it was all prep work in the costume room. And that's where I met Danny Whitworth, who turned out to be the brother of Johnny Whitworth, the movie star. This is before I was going to run off to Hollywood. He's like, oh, by the way, my brother's worked with Francis Ford Coppola. I completely froze like a statue and turned to him and said, dude, don't even joke around about that. You talking about Francis Ford Coppola, Apocalypse Now? It's like, yeah, my brother worked with him. And what movie? I was like, The Rainmaker. I was like, I'll have to go back and rewatch. That's with Matt Damon, right? He's like, yeah. His name's Johnny. What's your last name again? He goes, Whitworth. I was like, I'm going to check out that movie. It's called Rainmaker. Freaking, that was the brother of Johnny Whitworth. His name is Danny. He turned out to be a really good friend of mine. Bailed me out many times. He even helped move my mattress the last time I moved. Well, we moved from White Settlement to Fort Worth. It's a certain area of Fort Worth. But UNT was a pretty good choice. I was going to go there for dance because I love dance, and Texas Wesleyan used an outside source for teaching dance. They used dance teachers that had their own studios, which I thought was cool. Now they have Texas Wesleyan has their own dance studio now. Joe Brown recently built it, but that's not the reason why I left completely. I had to kind of get away and start over, and I left from private school to a state school, which is University of North Texas. And it was cheaper. And then from there I went to Hollywood and then ended up at the actor studio. It's a long story, it's a long path. But Johnny ended up joining the actor studio as a lifetime member. I never did that, though. I went my own way. But he's pretty much a movie star. He was the lead in Empire Records. He was AJ. But anyway, I hung out with his brother a whole lot and stuff. And I guess I felt better going to Hollywood knowing. And here's a true story about all of this whole journey. Before I finally left my dorm room, well, it wasn't a dorm room. It was actually, they were dorm-like apartments right alongside the campus. I had already graduated, did the whole thing with the robe. And before I actually left, I wrote a letter to Francis Ford Coppola. And I think it's talked about me dying. That was kind of a joke letter, but it wasn't really. Because I figured I could write that because everyone's dying no matter what. And I guess it was an homage to Rainmaker. I don't know if he received the letter, but it had his name on it, and I didn't have his address. So I just put Francis Ford Coppola and put some Hollywood address. That's all I remember. Hoping that it would get to him. It might have, I don't know. I used his full name, Francis Ford Coppola. But I don't remember how the letter went. At the time, I was writing a screenplay called Pin, which was about, it followed the pattern of this pin that was handed off to these different writers and artists. And then it ends with this guy writing a suicide note. It follows them all the way from Denton to pretty much Hollywood, Los Angeles. It follows the pin to New York. Man, we got one right here. That's silent. Gotta go to Panda. And it ends up back to Fort Worth. Probably secretly knew that was gonna be my path. But anyway, it was just a letter to kind of, I guess I was kind of asking him for help. But he helps artists in a lot of different ways. And writers too. He has a Zootropia magazine and stuff like that. I know he can't help everybody, but I figured I might as well write a letter before I launch myself out into Hollywood. I don't think I would do it if I do it the second time, and I'd have to be... My goals are, if things work out on YouTube, then we'll see, We'll plan from there. But Universal is coming to Frisco. The last time I heard, I don't know if the plans will continue, hopefully. That might change things a little bit because we won't have to drive to Florida to go to Disney World or California to go to Disneyland. Universal's not exactly Disney World or Disneyland, but it's pretty cool. Let me look at this right here because we got an order just now. All right. Let's see if it connects again. I have to check these over and over. to make sure it's not going to send me astray. That's why I say watch the movie Abyss. So sometimes when I feel like I've fallen into an abyss, it might have been for artists. Most of it all is written for the actors and the artist, and the audience somehow finds a connection with it. My goodness. Alright. I'm going to check on this for a minute. It says 13115. Yep, that's correct. Alright, we should be there in 1.6 miles. From memory, and it was written in 2000, probably around 2000, before Christmas time, right before 2001. It was like, Dear Francis Ford Coppola, my name is Jonathan Cole Spivey, is probably what I said, or Cole Spivey. I said something like, I'm an artist and I'm dying and I want to be in films and work in the film industry. I may have hinted that I wanted to be a filmmaker or something. It was probably something poetic. He probably never received the letter, hopefully. I wasn't really dying, but I read a lot of poetry and literature, and we're all dying. If you're not busy being born, you're busy dying. It was that kind of thing. I didn't put that in the I didn't rip off the words of Dylan, the poet and the songwriter. But it was something like that. You know, it was something that he probably would laugh at, maybe. But it was to get attention, you know, to him. Basically, I was dying for work, you know, that kind of thing. And then I was headed, you know, to Hollywood, and I don't know, that I would be there, you know. And he was one of the kings, you know, because he's a director. He's well known. He's a king. He's a king of the film industry. He's one of their kings, if not probably the top-notch guy. And I don't know what else I said. It was probably something crazy. But anyway, I did do that. I mailed it out. But it wasn't his address, so it was just an address to it was probably to an agency. And they would probably have sent it to him. But it didn't have a return address or anything. It was before I was going to leave. I just want to throw my name out there. And then I also sent out to a bunch of agencies, and then ended up landing in a management company, Marathon Management. Later I found out that was the same as Jack Nicholson's management company. In my mind, I was not making it. You know, I was like, man, this place is killing me. But I was actually making it. I was like on my way. You can do it. It's a building process. You're not going to show up and they're not going to just hand it to you. You have to work for them. I was doing delivery, and I'm still doing delivery today. Mostly I did delivery for them, for the industry. I worked for Go-Between. It was like a package company that delivered packages and letters. And right there in Hollywood, I mean, I would have big time met somebody. And my coach was Simone from Pee-wee's Big Adventures. Her name is Diane Salinger. She's still around too. So I had run across the right people. And she held her acting class in Tom Noble's house on Mulholland Drive. I had no idea who Tom Noble was. He was the editor for Red Dawn and Witness. He had an Oscar on the mantle. I mean, I am an idiot, for sure. Four items. It's a bigger plate, cream and cheese, ragoon, bowl, and chicken egg roll. Probably is like the green thing.